name is Sophia Hernandez, and today I'm doing my presentation on the ringtail, scientific name Bassaricus acestus, and we're going to take a look at the greenlist and assessment. So first I'll give a little bit of background information. So the ringtail is native and widely distributed in non-fragmented arid regions of North America, such as the forest, shrubland, grassland, even caves, rocky terrain, and can survive in high elevations, but mostly in elevations ranging from sea level to 1400. It's currently listed as least concern on the IUCN, the IUCN Red List. Its fur and tail is sold in legal states, so we see a slight decline in population in that range, but it's not an extreme threat to its population. However, because of the variety in landscapes and regions, the species is really highly adapted to withstand disturbed areas, as it can easily survive in such a wide variety. So, the ringtail is a nocturnal omnivore. It feeds on rodents, insects, and fruits, primarily. Due to their large range of dietary options, it's very unlikely for them to become malnourished, so that's yet another advantage of the ringtail. In Texas and California, ringtails are more often seen exploiting every form of available habitat within their range. Habitat structure and gradient of habitat preference is often seen as a major player considering the proportionality of these habitats, thus explaining their density variation. So I included two maps, one of which is kind of like a continental range of the ringtail. Thus, we see the good portion of the southwest of North America and a good portion of Mexico. So in order to create the green list and red list assessments, we had to evaluate their range in order to determine spatial units. So additionally, functionality was accounted for in the region, such as ecological function and trophic function, which, we see that the ringtail provides a good source of nutrients to its predators. The same goes for population control, the ringtail being a a predator. So we also see seed dispersal being one of those ecological functions due to their fruit eating. So lastly, the Excel document aided in the creation of the red list, which gave us visual graph results of both assessments. We see down here in the bottom portion of the PowerPoint those graph results. So the red list observes current states of species through a variety of data gathering relative to arbitrary targets of stability. The red list measures extinction rates and or improvement status of a species over a spatial time gradient. From the red list assessment, many of the lines don't appear, which will be the case if similarities appear to be the same. If similarities in statuses appear to be the same. This is represented by conservation legacy, conservation dependence, conservation gain, and recovery potential. Population trends are not known according to the IUCN, so that makes this assessment appear to be lacking some information and lines. From the data gathered, conservation efforts are minimal, but the ringtail is still in need of further conservation, which brings up our green list, which is an assessment that tries to evaluate conservation efforts and keep them in place in order to preserve a population. It's complementary towards the red list. So often, red list assessments differ from green list assessments, but in the case of the ringtail, the percent fully recovered looks identical to the predicted conservation efforts. There are, however, vast differences in percent change of current state. So this being said, conservation efforts are still very necessary in order to preserve this healthy distribution pattern seen in populations of the ringtail. So it's listed as a least concern, but expanding agriculture and climate change are always potential problems that could wipe out populations. So in order to continue its status as a least concern, I believe that conservation efforts in the next 10 years, the next 100 years, should definitely be should definitely increase. It is currently in preservation areas, and I believe that maybe adding more preservation areas in their local habitat would greatly benefit them.